welcome to Islamic Finance Weekly. I am Rahma Say Mohammed. On today's episode, we'll be talking on cost plus financing, which is Murabaha. We'll be understanding what Murabaha is, which is a key instrument of Islamic finance assets management. And joining me virtually on the show today is Mohammed Bashir Yunusa, Director, Digital Business, Alternative Bank. Assalamu alaikum, Mohammed Bashir Yunusa. Welcome on the show.
Pleased to be here. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. So let's start right with our conversation of today, which is Murabaha. I mean, to a layman, what is Murabaha? Let's have an overview of what Murabaha is.
So I'll try to break this down as simple as I can, but simply put, Murabaha means cost plus. So it's like me owning an item and selling it at a margin, and that's how I make money. Right? So I have a laptop, buying it at a wholesale price, putting up my margin and selling it at a recommended retail price. So that's the whole transaction of the cost plus. So it's like every trader today is involved in the Murabaha trade. Simply put, you buy, put your margin, you sell, and that's how you make a profit.
Very well. Thank you for that brief explanation of Murabaha. So now let's look at those distinct features of Murabaha. What makes up Murabaha and what makes Murabaha different?
So Murabaha is a fixed-term contract, typically, and it's highly transparent. It's transparent in the sense that there is a full declaration of what you're going into. So the cost price, the margin, the payment price, and the tenor. So with Murabaha, it allows you know exactly what you're getting into, and then there is not an opportunity for the institution or for whoever you're dealing with to come back and reprice the asset, because you're dealing in an asset. You're not dealing in a service where people can change the rates, right? Like we have a conventional business today, or some of the contracts we have. Murabaha is something that gives people the opportunity to know what they're getting into, so you know what you're going in and you know what you're going to end with at the end of it. And at the end of Murabaha, there is a transfer of ownership. Sometimes at the beginning, there's a transfer of ownership of that asset, and then when you're done paying, you end up with the asset. So that's one of the key things for Murabaha, is like the easiest contract when it comes to Islamic finance, easy to understand, and literally, I'll say, the first step into Islamic finance risk assets.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Now let's talk about how families and businesses can access Murabaha. Murabaha sounds very interesting. I mean, people actually practice Murabaha without actually knowing. So now let's know this instrument of Islamic finance in particular, which is Murabaha. How can families and businesses access it?
So I like by starting to say Murabaha is one of the oldest form of trade. It's literally arbitrage. Buy low, sell high, make a profit. And when we talk about how families can access it today, today if you go to any market and you buy any items, literally a Murabaha contract, but just on say it's a spot transaction. But when you come to having to access it from a financial viewpoint, there's something called the Alternative Mall, which is owned by the Alternative Bank. It's an e-commerce platform built under the premise of Murabaha. So whatever you buy on that mall is a Murabaha contract. And you get to spread your payment over 3, 6, and 12 months. And it sells everything from the smallest home appliance to personal computers, all the way to cars. Right? So if you approach not just the Alternative One, but every other Islamic finance institution out there, they have Murabaha on the offer, and you can literally structure most of your assets through a Murabaha contract. So walk up to an Islamic bank today, ask them to buy you an item, and what they will most likely offer you is a Murabaha contract. When it gets more sophisticated, they will also inform you. But the good thing about our business is we are very transparent. So when they offer you a contract that is not Murabaha, you will know, and then you can ask for Murabaha, because it's a fixed term contract that allows you to control the input and the output to the end of the contract.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So how can Murabaha help elevate poverty in Nigeria? I mean, how can it promote financial inclusion? I mean, Nigeria is in a very critical state of low financial inclusion, meaning there is need for access to finances. How can Murabaha help in this?
So when we talk about financial inclusion, myself and a few of our colleagues or how we deliberate it in-house is we we believe in financial inclusion as the second level. You have to have money to save to be included financially. So we have the concept of economic inclusion. Like an economic inclusion literally is teaching people how to make money and how to be self-sufficient, and then they can save and be financially included. Because they can only be financially included if you have finances to save. I think we always forget that point. And Murabaha can literally help you to be included financially if you decide to start up a trade today that you want to make money through all money, you can apply to the vendor or merchant and literally start selling. That's how Murabaha can help businesses. It can help structure trades for people to become self-sufficient. You have that, you have some experience, you can walk up to any institution, right? Both formal and informal, raise some capital and go into trade. We provide a marketplace with all we give you that market where you can showcase your skills or showcase your products and you can sell. And when you sell, we use the Murabba and that's how we can improve your business. And we believe when we improve your business, you're employing the next person and then you're feeding more people and that's how we impact the real sector. So I think Murabba is really, really an important tool that can be used to enable small businesses to grow.
So, what are Sharia guidelines guiding Murabaha practice, especially for banks? Banks usually are the ones who practice the Murabaha system, which you deal with retailers and all of that. So, can you tell us the Sharia principles guiding, which are the laws and ethics guiding Murabaha?
So Murabaha is pretty straightforward. So the principles are number one, transparency.
Okay.
Like I need to know the cost plus, which is the margin, and I also need to know the 10 or the tenor you're giving me to pay down. The second thing that the Sharia is really key on is it has to be a fixed rate. So we are agreed that my margin is 10%, right? Throughout the lifetime of that transaction, we cannot reprice. And the third part is there has to be an asset and a transfer of an asset. So Murabaha is usually bought for something you can see, feel, and touch. So proper asset. So that asset must exist. So there has to be an asset and there has to be exchange of asset. But I think those are the key three things when it comes to Murabaha. Fixed rates, assets, and also transparency. Total cost, and everybody needs to know what they're doing.
All right, thank you so much, Mohammed Bashir Yunusa, for that very straightforward explanation of Murabaha. I'm sure at the end of the day, viewers can properly understand what Murabaha means. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good
Yeah.
day.
We've heard it from Mohammed Bashir Yunusa, Director, Digital Business of Alternative Bank. I mean, people actually practice Murabaha almost every day of their lives. So every day of their lives. Murabaha means what? Cost plus financing. And we practice it either in the banks, in the markets, from gadget stores, from, almost every thing that we do. I hope at the end of the day you understand what Murabaha means, and when you hear that term, you know what it actually stands for. Well, with that, I say don't forget to keep it stayed with us next week on the program. Follow us on all our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you for watching. I am Rahma Say Muhammad.